The Chinese unique unit is the Chu Ko Nu. It's a very interesting unit because it fires multiple arrows. As such, it has been called the most complex unit in the entire game. While that's definitely not true anymore, that title does belong to the Ballista Elephant now, there's still a good deal to know. And so, in this video, I'll delve into the secrets of the Chu Ko Nu, and then we'll talk about how to use it. The Elite Chu Ko Nu is an archer unit with 50 HP, 14 attack, 3 melee armor, 4 pierce armor, 7 range, and a cost of 40 wood and 35 gold. Looking at its attack, you can tell that it's a very high number for an archer unit. However, it gets even better. The Elite Chu Ko Nu shoots 5 arrows. Now, the primary arrow deals the advertised 12 damage minus armor, while the secondary arrows only deal 3 damage minus armor. However, if you test it versus a unit modified to have 0 armor, you can tell that it's actually 1 more damage than that for all of these arrows. That's because the Elite Chu Ko Nu has a hidden melee damage value of 0. This means that Elite Chu Ko Nu are actually far better versus high pierce armor units, because all of those extra units will always deal at least 1 damage if they hit their target. It also means that versus units with negative melee armor, such as rams, they deal a lot of damage. Just for example, while most archer units only deal 1 damage per shot to siege ram, Elite Chu Ko Nus can do up to 15. This lets you start to see why Elite Chu Ko Nus can be better than other archer units sometimes. This does beg the question, should you make the Elite Chu Ko Nu or the Chinese Arbalest, because they're both ranged foot archers. Now, crossbows are far easier to mass, and with cheaper technologies for the Chinese, they can be a very useful unit for them in the Castle Age. In Random Map, in the Imperial Age, Arbalests are a natural upgrade to the crossbows. They also have 1 more range, which can be very important for micro. In Deathmatch, you can field Arbalests quicker because archery ranges are created far faster. In a previous video, I compared their creation times, and the castles and Chu Ko Nus took a full minute and 40 seconds longer to create 40 units. Because Elite Chu Ko Nu themselves are created twice as fast though, you only need half as many castles up. Once you get 3 or 4 castles built, it's really not that hard to field them. Also, Elite Chu Ko Nus cost 15 more wood, but 10 less gold, so in the early deathmatch game they won't drain your gold stockpiles as fast. They also fare far better versus cavalry and rams, and they simply perform better in general because they have all of those extra arrows, higher attack, and 10 more HP. They are simply statistically far superior. While you could make an argument for Arbalests in the early deathmatch game, it's probably better to just use your villager advantage to create early castles and get Elite Chu Ko Nu out. For what it's worth, in the expert deathmatch games I've watched, I have never seen a Chinese player go for Arbalests. Another strong ranged unit though is the Heavy Scorpion. Now the Chinese don't have generic scorpions. They do have 1 less range, but 4 more attack than a normal one because of their rocketry unique technology. This means that technically, the Elite Chu Ko Nu and the Scorpions have the same range, but remember, Scorpion bolts travel further than the advertised number. It also deals far more base damage, and as such, when units group up, the Scorpions perform far better. To top it all off, they have bonus damage versus elephants. However, the Elite Chu Ko Nu are far more mobile, meaning if you're paying attention to your army, you can allow them to avoid oncoming cavalry far easier than Scorpions can. They also don't have minimum range, so it's not that big of an issue if units start to get close to them. The result of these differences is that the Chinese should field both units, because they defend each other quite nicely versus infantry and cavalry. Moving on to the Elite Chu Ko Nu's counters, as mentioned earlier, archers are traditionally countered by paladins, skirmishers, siege onagers, rams, huskarls, eagle warriors, rattan archers, tarkans, and plumed archers. While Chu Ko Nus are still countered by most of these units, they perform far better versus them than the Arbalests do. Also, the Chinese have cavaliers, camels, and champions, which can counter almost all of these units very well. As a result, like many other archer units, elite Chu Ko Nus are great at supporting the Chinese army. However, unlike other archer units, they can still hold their own when alone, and aren't countered quite as drastically as many of their counterparts. However, they're still not that population efficient, and once you reach your population limit, you may struggle to field an army that can compete with your adversaries in terms of sheer power. As always, thanks to my patrons Ethan Brown, Jacob Peterson, John Kumanel, Elite Chu Ko Nu, and Sir Lawrence NZ. It's been great to see your advice and suggestions on the scripts for my videos and the future of the channel. Anyway, until next time.